Welcome back, everybody. Today's lesson is solving equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. Up to this point, you've been concentrating on solving one-step equations and two-step equations. So this is just the next step in difficulty. We're going to up the ante just a little bit. So take a look at the first equation. 2x plus 7 equals x minus 3. And you're probably asking yourself, how do I solve this equation? Well, you've really got two options. What you need to notice is that up until this point, the variable has always been either on the left or on the right side, never both. So in this case, we have a choice. We need to decide, do we prefer the variable on the left or do we prefer it on the right? And I'm going to show you both ways for this first example. In example 1, we're going to assume that we like the x variables to be on the left-hand side. So the way I'm going to get this 1x to the other side is by subtracting it from both sides of the equal sign. X minus x on the right is going to cancel out, and we're left with a negative 3. On the left-hand side, I can combine my 2x minus 1x to get a 1x, and the plus 7 is still there as well. Now this looks like a problem we've already been working on. So we're going to focus on getting this x completely alone. Let's get rid of that plus 7 first by subtracting a 7 from both sides. That leaves me with a 1x on the left-hand side and a negative 10 on the right-hand side. And you can either see from here, obviously the x has to be a negative 10, but if you do like to do that one extra step and divide to get rid of the 1, we are now left with x equals negative 10. So that's how we solve this problem, putting the x variable on the left, but let's suppose you prefer the variable on the right-hand side of the equal sign. You do have that option. In example 2, I'm going to move the 2x over to the right-hand side of the equal sign. 2x minus a 2x cancels out, and we're left with a 7 on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have a 1x minus 2x is negative 1x, and don't forget about the minus 3. Now we're going to concentrate on getting that x alone, so we're going to add a 3 to both sides. That gives me a 10 equals negative 1x. And last step, divide both sides by that negative 1 to get the x alone. And again, we do indeed get negative 10 for the x value. So basically, 5 steps to solving equations, and I'll read through these briefly, and then I'm going to suggest that you pause the video to give yourself enough time to get these 5 copied down into your notes. First step, get rid of all grouping symbols. You're going to combine your like terms or you're going to distribute in order to get rid of these grouping symbols. And these can be parentheses, square brackets, braces, anything of that nature. The second step, now you're going to combine all of the like terms on both the left side and the right side of the equal sign. Step 3, move the variable terms to the left. All right. You're going to want to, we usually try to focus on the left-hand side. That tends to be the easier of the two sides. Once we move our variable terms to the left, then we're going to move our numeric terms, or those terms without a variable, to the right. And then finally, the last step is to undo all operations that are done to the variable. If a plus 5 is connected to the variable, you would undo that by subtracting 5. If a minus 10 is connected to the variable, you would undo that by adding 10. So that's what we mean by undo whatever is done to the variable. And basically an equation is like a puzzle. Your job is to find out which number behaves in the way that the variable behaves in the equation. So pause the video here and get the 5 steps copied down. Okay, we are moving on to some examples. Get a little bit of practice before we get to the homework assignment. In example 3, I'm going to start off by noticing I have a negative 1x on the right, and I would prefer it to be on the left. So in order to do that, I'm going to add a positive x to both sides. So we have a 4x plus 2 equals negative 2. Now we're going to move that numeric term from the left-hand side over to the right, and I'll do that by subtracting because it was showing addition. Those are going to cancel out for me. And the last thing that is there to get rid of is a positive 4, and we're going to undo that multiplying through division. 4 over 4 cancels. X is now alone, and we get an answer of negative 1. Example 4. Negative 4r. I see that is on the right-hand side. I immediately want to take care of that, move it to the left, and I'm going to do so by adding a positive 4r to make it cancel from the right-hand side. That's going to give me a 3r on the left and a positive 2 on the right. Undo the times 3 through division. 3 over 3 cancels. R is now alone. And if you're given a situation where the division doesn't go evenly, remember you always have the option of just leaving it as a fraction. So R equals 2/3. Okay, let's really go for it on this one. A little bit more challenging because we've got more variables to do. What I notice immediately is on my right-hand side of the problem, I have not one n term, not 2 n terms, but 3 n terms. Those are all like terms that can be put together. So let's do that. I have a negative 3, a positive 1, and remember your minus can also be changed to plus negative if you need. So a negative 3, a positive 1, and a negative 5 all put together is going to give us a negative 7n. I'm just going to recopy what was on the left-hand side. And now I'll get started moving the variables to the left and numeric terms to the right. Let's take that negative 7n and add a positive 7n. Doing so, I have a negative 36 plus 9n equals, and there's really nothing left on that side right now, so we can put a 0 to hold the spot. Negative 36 does not have a variable, so let's get rid of that by adding a positive 36. And we have a 9n on the left, a positive 36 on the right. And I see the finish line now. Let's divide both sides by that 9. And we get our answer of n equals 4. Great job on that. Let's keep the momentum going. We're going to up the ante again a little bit. Notice we have grouping symbols, and that is step 1 to solving equations. Let's get rid of the grouping symbols. So on the left-hand side, the first set of grouping symbols I see has a 3 outside of the quantity. That is the definition of distributive property. So we're going to take that 3 and multiply it by both terms in the group, which will give us a 3y minus 27. I'm just going to bring that 2y down for the time being. My second set of grouping symbols, the only thing in front of it is a negative sign. So what we're going to do is distribute that negative sign through the quantity, which will cause the 3y to become negative 3y, and the minus 18 to become a plus 18. And then we're going to bring down that last minus y. Now we're at the point where we have like terms on the left, like terms on the right. So let's take care of putting those together. A 2y plus a positive 3y is easily 5y. And bring down the minus 27. On the right-hand side, I have a negative 3y and a negative 1y. That together is negative 4y. And we'll just bring down the plus 18. And here we're at the point where let's move our y to the left-hand side. That's going to give us a 9y minus 27 equals 18. We're getting closer. That minus 27, let's add a 27 to both sides. That way it cancels out on the left and 9y is alone. 18 plus a 27, we have 7 plus 8 is 15. Carry the 1 and we get a 4. And in the home stretch, let's divide both sides by that 9. They cancel, and we get y equals 5. Okay, so now that we've just gone through the previous example 6, I'm going to leave you with example 7 to try on your own. Make sure you show all of your work and bring it in to your teacher the next time you have class. At this point, you should also be ready to try the homework assignment. And again, as always, if you have any questions, please see your teacher as soon as possible. Have a great day.